Hey y'all, it's your girl Ashley here. As you can see, I am back in the Steeler Man Cave. This is not my cave, it's my uncle's, but this is our recording studio today, so you know what that means. Ashley's Hot Takes. This week in football was all about rookies shining, breaking records, kickers doing, oh my gosh, what they're paid to do, kick and make it. But let's get started. Thursday night game, Patriots taking on the Colts. Tom Brady reached 500 touchdowns, and it's only fitting that the touchdown would go to his new shiny wide receiver, one Josh Flash Gordon. Honestly, Tom is the GOAT. I don't care how you slice it, dice it. 500 touchdowns? With that being said, I still have concerns about this Patriot defense. I don't think they are as great as they've been in years past. But as long as you have Tom Brady on your roster, I feel like you can overcome any deficit, 28-3. So I'm not going to be too concerned at this point. With the Colts, I really think they are missing the presence of Frank Gore in that rushing game. They're ranked 29th overall, and they're averaging under 75 yards a game, which is not great for Andrew Luck. He's out here almost taking 60 attempts. He had 59 attempts last game, which if they're still trying to ease him back in, I don't think is the best recipe for success. So this was a great weekend for rookie QBs. This was the first time since the start of the Super Bowl era all four starting rookie quarterbacks have gone 4-0. So shout out to the rookies. Also, too, the rookie learning curve is not what it's been, but I will still give them that. Josh Allen got the rookie QB party started when the Bills took on the Titans. Now, he only had 82 yards and an interception, but with the help of his defense and the Titans not being that great offensively, he was able to get a win. My impression of the Bills this far into this season is that they have a decent running game. From time to time, that defense shows up. And when that happens, usually they can make the game close or get a win, but I don't really look at this team as a threat, especially in the division they play in. The Titans, to me, if they were playing in a different era, this team would be fine. But the way that the Titans are built and structured is not advantageous to the pass-happy league that we live in today. They just play really rough, tough, old-school football. Solid running back, solid defense, low scoring, slug it out. And for the regular season, that can work. You can win some games that way. But when you get into the playoffs and you're playing the best teams offensively, it's not going to work in my opinion. But a team that did figure out some things working this week, the Steelers, when they took on the Falcons. First off, how are the Falcons 1-4? Steelers, they're 2-1. I hate tie scores. But let's get into the Falcons-Steelers. It was the first game where I saw the Steelers make it a point to really make sure that they got the connection between Ben and Antonio Brown established very early, getting him a lot of targets. He had 6 receptions, over 100 yards, 2 TDs. All touchdowns are not the same. When you have Antonio score a touchdown, it just does something different to the offense. Similar style, like when Steph Curry starts draining his three, there's an excitement that goes through the fans and the team. And it's so important for teams to identify who those players are that can make that impact and make sure you go to them. So I thought the Steelers did a really nice job of that. And with Atlanta, I just really think ever since Kyle Shanahan left, he'll be the head coach of the 49ers, the offense has not clicked and looked the same. And what is so confusing to me about the Falcons is that they're ranked 10th in points and 13th in yards overall. So they're not putting up numbers. They're just not executing. And defensively, they have problems on that side of the ball as well. They've given up over 30 points 4 times. Twice have given up 30-plus points. Another 2 times, 40 points. So they just got problems all around. Mo money, mo problems for the Falcons. Okay, Broncos taking on the Jets. Speaking of mo money, mo problems, Case Keenum secured the bag in the offseason. Now, I am all for people securing the bag, but if we're going to keep it 100, Case was the product of a great defense and some great receivers and a catch that will go down as one of the greatest moments in football history. So he secured his bag to the bank, but I have not been too impressed with his performance in Denver so far. Now, it's not all on Case. They have other problems, but still. They're moving the ball because they're 12th overall in yards, but they're not able to turn those into points. They're 27th overall. So there's a disconnect there. And defensively, they're trying to resurrect that Denver defense that they used to have back in the day. It's a process, and I really do think they're missing the presence of Talib, who was a great playmaker for them. So it's going to take a little time. Obviously, we all know who's in control of this division. That would be Kansas City. But Denver, they're coming along. So when it comes to the Jets, I just can't fully put my finger on them. Sometimes they play well and they show a lot of promise. Other times they look like they're going through extreme growing pains. But a bright spot for them, Isaiah Crowell. He had a great game, 200 rushing yards, 1 TD. Speaking of growing pains, the game of the week, Jaguars taking on the Chiefs. Obviously the hottest offense coming in, swaggiest defense coming in. Whew, it was a rough one to watch. I'm not going to lie. And it made me sad because I wanted it to be more competitive. And this is why people question in the offseason, why wouldn't you go out and at least get a solid backup or somebody for when you run into situations like this? Because it wasn't that people didn't think this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when, not. Sayonla Van Zandt says, I got to call a thing a thing. Blake Bortles was trash. I can't excuse it. It was what it was. He played horribly. How do you hit your own man with the ball? I don't understand that. But does he deserve all the blame for this loss? No. As much as I praise this defense, as much as I like them, I have to call out what I see. As the game went on, they got tired and they got fatigued, and this is something that I've noticed. Their technique went out the window, and you saw missed tackle after missed tackle, and they couldn't get guys down because they got tired. And to me, that is a lack of discipline and technique. Can you work on that? Absolutely. That's just conditioning and getting better. Chiefs answered a lot of questions for me. Number one, Mahomes, he struggled a little bit. He didn't have this blow your socks off statistical day, but he still maintained his composure and he was in the game the whole time. And the Chiefs, they had the momentum all game. Defensively, I wasn't overly impressed with the Chiefs. They still gave up 500 yards. And to me, Jacksonville made more mistakes to keep themselves out of the game than the Chiefs defense did to keep them in the game. Let's go up north. Packers taking on the Lions. Lions jumped out to a 24-0 lead. But you know what? You can never count that bad man Aaron Rodgers out. He helped them rally back. 23 points in the second half, but it wasn't enough. Lions finally have a run game that can complement Matthew Stafford and Kerryon Johnson and LeGarrette Blount. Lions, like I said, they got off to a bit of a slow start, but have been picking it up lately. With the Packers, we just don't know the full extent of what Aaron Rodgers' injury is. Now, I know we're not really talking about it, but I still think he's probably more injured than they're letting on. Also, to turnover battle. Lions had 0 turnovers, Packers had 3. Usually, if you lose the turnover battle, you lose the game. Ravens taking on the Browns. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. As bad as that kick looked, it went in OT. Greg Joseph, you are the real MVP up in Cleveland because you helped win the game. This game was a hard-fought battle. I think both teams kind of put each other on notice. The Ravens realized this is not the Browns of years past, and the Browns said, we are not the Browns, the 0-16. We are 2-1, baby. No more 0-16 parades. We have busted out the Bud Lights, but I digress. The Browns, Baker continues to impress, and what I like about Baker is that he is going to make mistakes, but he has just got so much confidence. For the Ravens, I still like them in this division. I wish they had a little bit more of a run game, but they have a solid defense, and the Steelers are struggling. The Browns are on the rise. The Bengals, we don't know what they're going to do when it comes to playoff time, so it's wide open. It was just a great week for kickers. A couple weeks ago, rough and tough. People were out of jobs. This week, you get a little bonus check. You get a little something off the top. Panthers taking on the Giants. Graham Gano, 63-yard career-setting. Of course, we can't let Graham be great and have his one moment of glory in life because all anybody wants to talk about is Odell Beckham and his comments to the media. What else is new? If you haven't heard by now, Odell Beckham said that he felt like his team was lacking heart and energy. What team has anybody ever been on that at times they didn't lack heart and energy and you didn't call them out for it? This is not a story. Giants played their best game of the season on Sunday. Odell, I like the fact that he didn't backtrack. He doubled down on what he said. Y'all know who he is. This is what makes him a great player. Why do you want to take away what makes him him? This is my main point on all this. As long as Odell, his teammates, and the coaching staff are all on the same page and they know how he feels and what he means, it doesn't matter what we perceive it to be because he is playing with these people. He is being coached by them. I don't see anybody talking about how when Sterling Shepard was upset and punching things and being all, emotional, who was the first person to comfort him? Odell. But is anybody talking about that? Is anybody showing that leadership side of Odell? No. Y'all get my point. It was a good day for the Panthers. Shout out to Cam. They got a win. Sticking around in that division. Good for them. Two teams who, despite having winning records, I just don't believe in. Dolphins taking on the Bengals. I can't, I don't know why. I just don't really believe in either of these squads. The Bengals, obviously the playoff question marks. Dolphins, I thought they were a little overrated because New England was doing so bad. Now that New England has leveled out, Dolphins, they don't look as impressive to me. Bengals, I do like when they have Joe Mixon in that lineup. He is a great factor for them. Andy Dalton, solid day. Okay, for one of the quote-unquote best rivalries in the NFL, Raiders taking on the Chargers. In my opinion, I have never felt this rivalry has lived up to the hype, at least not in my lifetime, because one team is either really bad and the other team is really good. Right now, the Chargers are good and the Raiders are really bad. And is anybody in the NFL gonna question Jon Gruden? No. So guess what? I'm here to do that. Any other coach goes 1-4 after giving up your best defensive player? No, I'm not over it. And until the Raiders play better, I'm still not going to be over the trade of Mac. But offensively, the Raiders, they're just not converting. They're putting up yards, but they're not putting up points. 24 of 61 on third down. That's a 34% completion percentage. I did the math ahead of time. But I am telling you, their issues are bigger than points and yards and numbers. It may seem like I'm harping on this one issue, but I can tell because I have been on teams. When you disrupt the chemistry and you take away key role makers, not only on the field, but in the locker room, it disrupts the culture. Give some love to the team that they're playing and who got the win. Chargers have looked better over the last few weeks. Phillip Rivers, Philly Riv, he's doing his thing, but we all know this division is going to run through Kansas City. So that is where I stand on the Chargers. Two red teams that are in a bit of a rebuilding phase. Cardinals taking on the 49ers. Obviously, Jimmy G is lost for the season. Matt Breida, he went down with an ankle injury. He should come back probably within a couple weeks, though. Cardinals, Josh Rosen, he's progressing. Now for the matchup I had my eye on coming into the week, NFC Championship rematch. Vikings traveling back to Philadelphia. Haven't been there since the Eagles beat the brakes off of them in the championship game. I had zero doubt the Vikings would win. Here's why. Mike Zimmer. He is a defensive coach. That is where he has made his bread and butter a name for himself. So the fact that they lost so badly to the Rams, I knew, especially having to go against Philly again, they would show up. Adam Thielen having himself a heck of a year. First receiver ever to have 5 games of 100 yards receiving each game. So shout out to Thielen. I got a Thielen. And now to the Eagles. Everybody wants to say, oh, Super Bowl hangover. This is the thing. You could have the same exact roster 2 years in a row and that be 2 completely different teams. No team is the same year to year. And the Eagles are not. Unfortunately, they just lost Jay Ajayi. He's out for the year with an ACL injury. They're talking about maybe trading with the Cardinals, Pittsburgh with Le'Veon, maybe the Bills, LaShawn. But they still have the talent. They just got to figure out how to put it together. Team who's having no problems putting it together. Rams traveled up to Seattle, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. And the Rams were challenged. You know, they didn't have 2 of their wide receiver trio that went down in the first half with concussions, but they found a way. And it doesn't hurt when you have probably one of the best running backs in the league who you can just hand it off if you need him to catch it out of the backfield. Todd Gurley has really emerged over these last few years as a real solid offensive weapon, not only running, but I will say, it did warm my heart to see Seattle have some fight, because as struggling as they have looked this year, they still have a lot of pride, and there's still some hope. Two teams that need a lot of hope coming into this game. Cowboys taking on the Texans, the battle for Texas. And the Texans will come out supreme. But the Cowboys, they were in the mix. They were there for a minute. As much as people love to rag on the Cowboys, they are 2-3, second in their division. There is not a clear front runner at this point. They are still trying to figure things out. I still think that they're trying to spread it out too much, but hey, if that's them trying to figure it out. Let's give a little credit to the Texans. They played better. Now, yes, have they played the strongest competition over the last couple weeks? No, and they're going to get the Bills next week. But Deshaun Watson, he's progressing, looking better, getting into more of a rhythm. So I think they'll be okay. And I couldn't think of a better way to end hot takes. Last game of the week, Redskins taking on the Saints. Drew Brees now holds the all-time leading passing yards record. I love me some Drew Brees. Yes, the stats and the accomplishments is a great thing, given his height and his adversity that he's had to overcome. But to hear different people talk about him, it just shows you what kind of character he really has and the impact he has not only on his team, but just the community as a whole. New Orleans, after Hurricane Katrina, the way he was such a hope and a leader for that community speaks volumes. And I've had the opportunity to talk to some of his former teammates, and all of them just rave about not only his football ability, but just him as a person. And to me, I don't care if you're a great player, I want to know you're an even better person. So I'm happy. Good for Drew Brees. It was a great win for the Saints. Final thoughts on week 5 of the NFL season. Great week for kickers. Rookies are looking good. Top 2 teams in the NFL still are the Rams out of the NFC, and in the AFC, the Chiefs. And if I had to say the best team overall, I will give that to you next week after the Chiefs play the Patriots. Then I will make my decision. All right, that's it for this week's edition of Ashley's Hot Takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe to my YouTube, comment, DM. Thank y'all for watching. Bye.